Joseph Rieger was, of course, the first called pastor of Central United Church of Christ here in Jefferson City, and he came from Germany in 1836. He was a scholar at the Basel Mission in Switzerland, and where many of the early evangelical and Reformed pastors were trained. They came to the American frontier to establish churches in the German evangelical tradition. These folks were very motivated for social justice and for racial justice, and they were subsequently abolitionists. Rieger first came to America, as I mentioned, in 1836. He landed and went to New England for a while, for a few months. Then he came to St. Louis area and lived with Elijah Lovejoy, who was a very famous abolitionist who helped many slaves escape from the South in what was called the Underground Railroad. Rieger then helped establish the first Eden Theological Seminary in Marthasville, Missouri. He was a scholar. He was a theologian. From there, he established our first, one of our first evangelical and Reformed churches in Holstein, Missouri, and then he was called here in 1860. While in Jefferson City, Rieger became very involved in the community, and after the Civil War, was very influential in the establishment of the Lincoln Institute, of course, which is now Lincoln University. Rieger worked among the black community during the Civil War from 1860 to 1865, one of the few pastors in the area that would baptize and marry and bury African American folk. Became quite an influential figure in the African American community in central Missouri, and was, with his zeal for education after the war, the slaves had been freed, and so then he turned his attention to education of African Americans, and why his zeal became certainly put into action as he helped found Lincoln Institute here in Jefferson City, which became Lincoln University.
And he had a lot of help from other German citizens, I presume, were probably members of this church too.
Yes. And the German community in Missouri at that time were primarily all abolitionists. They were very much against slavery, felt it was a violation of the Christian gospel, that all people should be free. And that was difficult in Jefferson City because there were many slaveholders in Jefferson City at that time. So Rieger, among many folk in Jeff City, was not very popular. But among the German community, he was, and beloved. He died in August of 1869, but his 9 years here were very influential, and his footprint is still felt here in Jefferson City.